On R&B reviews, priests get to fight vampires in the future.
How cool is that? We will tell you if these two elements go well together in Priest from the director of Legion. Hello everybody and welcome to R&B Reviews. I'm Rob.
And I'm Dave.
And today we're going to be reviewing The Priest, which is based off a graphic novel which is set in the future where warrior priests have fought vampires. And with the vampire war all over, the heads of the church are asking the priest to go ahead and adapt to society because they feel that the war is over and the vampire menace is all gone. Paul Bettany plays a leading priest, and he leaves against the head of the church's orders when a group of vampires kills his brother and wife and kidnaps his niece. Okay, Dave. For me, this is one of those movies where I really wanted to like it, but I couldn't because there's some very good elements about it. Like, for example, the film it has a very good look to it, and the special effects I think are very impressive. And I think it's because Scott Stewart, who's the director of this film, has a background in making special effects for movies, so I think that may be why that. But I think the problem I thought with this film was I just don't think he can really direct the actors very well, because I felt like all the actors for the most part came across as gruff, one tone and one note, and I felt like they became bland as a result of that. I think the only people that really stuck out was the female cast members, like the niece, played by Lily Collins, Phil Collins' daughter, and Maggie Q, who's one of the priests. I think they put more feeling and more characterization into their performances than the other male counterparts.
Yeah, I agree that all the male actors in this film, they were like all gruff and one note, and just didn't really fit. I mean, they tried to make it as close as possible to the comic book, because that's how it was in the comic book. So
another problem with the acting I had was the actor who plays Hicks, the sheriff. I mean, it sounds like he's just reading off the script. It doesn't sound like he's putting in anything into the performance. And this is the same actor who played Christina Aguilera's love interest in Burlesque. That was a movie you liked more than I did. But I felt like he just came across as reading the script, and I felt like the most part, I thought the female cast members did a much better job creating the characters.
Yeah, it did seem a lot of times that the director was just holding the script up on side of the camera so he could read it, because he would sometimes just stare blankly and it looked like he was like staring at the camera a lot. Mm-hmm. Didn't look good at all. Yeah,
I mean, what does the I guess he's a love interest to the niece, because that part of the story takes place in a small town outside where the city where the priests live. What does she see in him? He's so bland and uninteresting. I mean, sure, I guess he's good looking, but I mean, what does she see in him? There's nothing there. Another reason why I wanted to like this movie was this movie does have good religious allegories. I mean, like, for example, they're talking about religion basically running mankind. It's kind of like what a lot of people are saying today, especially with a lot of topics coming up recently, like recently in Indiana, where they said they were going to cut off some money for Planned Parenthood, and everyone's like, oh, religion's running the government, religion's running this, running that. You know, there's some good allegories with that, and of course the Monsignors that run the church in this movie, it seems like they don't really care about the people that they're serving, like the confessional scene where Paul Bettany goes in for confessional. It's like they don't really care, they're just there for the power.
I thought that was kind of neat, because it's like a futuristic confessional, and it looked like almost like a telephone booth from the future and everything, and then it just the father just pops up on the screen and everything, but it's more like he's more like.
I felt like another reason why this movie fell flat for me was I just did not care. I mean, the movie gives reasons why we should care about the priest. Like, his niece got kidnapped, his family got killed, he has to defy the Monsignors. You got all these good reasons, but yet I didn't really care. I felt like the acting or the script really gave me the feeling to care. I mean, they spell out why we should. Yeah. But why? I didn't feel anything. I wanted to root for him, but I couldn't.
Yeah, and then they make him out to be like more of a mercenary than a man of the church, really.
Yeah, because I mean, all these priests were put together to fight the vampire menace, so I could probably see why they come across more like mercenaries as opposed to doing the religious stuff.
Yeah.
But I felt the only time this movie, I guess, was supposed to be a suspense movie. The only time I really felt scared and suspense was there's a scene where the priest is going through this vampire tunnel in the middle of the movie. That was probably the only time I felt any suspense. Most of the time I just wanted to sit there. And the action scenes, to me, they just were not exciting at all. The overdone slow and fast motion I did not like at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just felt like, towards the end of the movie, I almost fell asleep with this because I thought that this story was just bland and not interesting.
I kind of like the action scenes a little bit more than you did, especially when the one female priest, when she was like fighting against the guys on the motorcycles, and she had like that chain whip thing. Remember?
Yeah,
she tore the guy off. That was kind of a cool scene. It bothered me. A lot of times characters would like go away for a while and then they'd come back, and it just you can't really remember who they are because you're trying to figure out what's going on to begin with. It's like, what's been going on so far? Yeah, you said you saw this movie in regular format 2D, right? Yeah, I ended up having the privilege of seeing it in 3D because that's all that was showing at the time for the time slot that I was able to go see it, and I didn't like it in 3D at all. I mean, it was interesting how it was, but there's like a lot of bright lights in this film, and when they come at you three-dimensionally, it just hurts your eyes. I was starting to like almost get a headache, and like I had to like blink a lot. It was really, really bothering me.
Not much of a privilege.
No, they said this movie was going to look great in 3D, and it did somewhat, but a lot of times with all those bright lights, it really hurt my eyes.
Do you think this is a movie that should be seen in theaters? Or?
No, it's not worth going to see in theaters. I mean, if you do go see it in theaters, I would recommend seeing it in the 2D instead of the 3D, but I don't think this is worth seeing in theaters. I'm going to give it just a mild rent it, really, really mild.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to give this movie a snuff it. It's got some elements that I think would make a very interesting movie, like the religious stuff, but I felt like the acting and the story kind of fell flat for me, and I just can't recommend it on that, but
yeah,
maybe this is a movie that could be remade by someone better. I mean, I think the problem with directors that have a background in visual effects, they're good with, with the look of the picture, but the heart and, the storyline and the acting just, I don't think is quite up their alley. In my opinion.
I'm going to give it a mild rent it, because I thought the story was pretty good, but the acting just wasn't really up to par, and everything else wasn't really up to par. So
okay. All right, well, that's a review for Priest, so thank you very much for watching, and go ahead and leave any comments you have about the movie or about this video, and thank you very much for watching.